Good to go. Okay, welcome everybody to Town of Pompey Planning Board meeting. Today is May 20th, 2024. I'd like to start tonight's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First off, has our board had a chance to look over the draft meeting minutes? Were there any changes or corrections? He wasn't here. Okay, so hearing none, make a motion to approve them as presented.
I'll second the motion.
And all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. First on our agenda, Lockheed Martin site plan review. This is scheduled tonight for a public hearing on a site plan submitted by Lockheed Martin for the rebuild of a dome building used for equipment testing in the same location as a previous dome, located at 3254 Windy Hill Lane in the town of Pompey, tax map number 015-02-22.0. If you come up, and as you're coming up, I'm going to do a quick introduction of our board that I forgot. My far right, John Shaheen, board member, Kevin Corson, board secretary, Sarah LaJudas. I'm Sue Smith, Carl Ferenkrug, Deb Cook, and Dan Bargabas. Will Frizzy is absent this evening. Our town engineer, John Dunkel, and planning board attorney, Amelia Robertson McLean. And Tim Carup is around here somewhere, our codes enforcement officer. And thank you, Veronica, for helping out with the technical stuff. So, okay, now we're good.
I'm Steve Aaron, the CNS engineers. I'm along with Jeff Argo from Lockheed Martin, and we're here for the public hearing at Windy Hill Lane for the radar dome reconstruction. We were here last month. I believe we didn't really have any comments. I do have 11 by 17 if you guys don't have.
Yeah. Are they the exact same as last week?
Thank you.
Thanks. He's the exact same as last.
Slightly modified.
Okay.
Still fun, and it showed the existing, it now shows the existing radar, or no, the existing range building as we had it proposed. So it's a 2,300 square foot radar dome on an existing pad. That pad will be ripped out and rebuilt with new concrete.
Same size footprint,
Slightly smaller.
smaller?
Right, yep. We're relocating the antenna outside of this pavement area.
Where's the antenna going?
The antenna was here and it's moving to the north,
Okay.
just outside of the pavement.
Mm-hmm.
This is,
The equipment building is just prefab 8x14?
yep,
How tall is that antenna?
the antenna is approximately 50 feet tall.
It's around there with a high, it's a lightning rod is what it is. It's an existing one, which is moving to the other side of the road.
And the work that you had been doing on the pad, like some of the equipment you've had on there, will now be enclosed, and so it'll be not only weatherproof, but it'll probably be quieter?
Correct.
Okay.
This proposed radar dome is 41 feet, what is the existing radar dome off the page is 45 feet, so it's slightly smaller.
And the dome is gonna be the same height,
This one will be slightly smaller than
so
the
the
existing.
diameter and the height.
The diameter is, I believe, slightly smaller as well.
Yeah. So there's no increased business, you're just making it easier for the engineers and whatnot to have.
Yep,
Yeah,
there'll be some trenching on site to vary the
runoff and whatnot.
communication.
Oh,
Cables.
for cables, right?
Yep.
Okay.
No, no real increase in impervious. Our disturbance area is 16,800 square feet. Structural trenching.
But the only traffic increase we should see is just during construction. Everything else is just gonna be pretty much the same, just
Same
doing it
status.
enclosed.
Yep.
We're scheduled from 7:15 to 11:28, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah.
And what do you think the length of construction is gonna, when do you hope to start, and how long do you think it's gonna take?
7:15 to 11:28.
I'm sorry?
July-
July 15th
Yep.
to November 28th, by the end of November, we hope to be complete.
Okay, so that's a fair amount of time.
It took a while for the last pad to be built. That's the contractor gave us. We can't start until 7:15, just because we have scheduled work on that pad. We have to wait till that program is done.
Are there any weight limits on that road, Kevin, in the wintertime, or is it?
Not that I know of. I don't think we have weight restrictions on that Windy Hill Lane. Tim, do you know of anything like that? No. And probably the heaviest vehicles are the armored radar, portable radars that come in on flatbed. That's probably heaviest stuff to bring in.
Yeah, usually on a trailer.
On a flatbed, yeah, yeah. Still weighs the same when it's on,
The concrete truck probably the most.
yeah, in the short term, yeah, yeah. Power consumption's not gonna change, just, you're still pretty much doing the same thing
So we're increasing the site service for that pad.
for that pad, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So we're not at its limit.
Yep.
So we don't do any undue draw of the
Mhm.
line.
I think you're doing it to hide the alien spacecraft.
John, did you have any comments?
Just one minor one regarding placement of silt fence parallel to the contours, so when you get ready to do your resolution, I'll just note that. No, this is a minor site plan impact, there's no increase in impervious surfaces, the land has been previously disturbed, it is in an archaeologically sensitive area, but it's all been previously disturbed, so.
And the new pad's gonna be smaller anyway,
Right.
right, and it decreases.
Other than that, I don't have any issues here.
So what's the purpose of adding a transformer?
So we're increasing it from an 800 amp service there to a 1200 amp service. There's 3 services at that site. But that one service just supplies the 3 pads that are on the south end of it. So we didn't want it to limit ourselves and have it, potentially draw or any surges or anything like that on the line. So we're making it larger so that we're well within our percentage band. And we're moving it all into that electrical room too, so all the services will be from the transformer down into that electric room instead of an outdoor one, which it is now.
Yeah, I saw one pole is being demolished.
And one pole
the additional asphalt pavement, is that additional? The proposed asphalt pavement, is that replacing pavement or is that additional?
It should be replacing.
Okay, so there's
There's
existing,
existing
It's all
impervious
paved
there.
right now.
yeah. That's all I have.
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
It's all pretty much the same as one last time.
I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm fine, okay. All right, we will be moving into the public hearing section. As this is type 2, there's, as noted, no significant footprint changes with this, that we are going to waive the short form EAF. And again, based also on John's comments that he just gave also, and noting that the archaeological area, but it has already been gone through before, and this is actually a smaller site that you'll be doing, so. With that, I will make a motion to open the public hearing,
I'll second it. Go ahead, John, you can have it.
I'll second.
second by John, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is now open. If there's anybody here who would like to make a comment, please approach and state your name and address. And
Wallach, 3228 Windy Hill Lane. Unless it's been changed to Lockheed Martin site.
No, you,
Got another
Mike,
question.
you have to ask the bench.
I've been here every time that we were gonna do a addition or whatever. And, number one is the traffic on the road and our road, but it ends up being a mess, broken up and everything. And, the sound that I get in my house, which is getting louder and louder. I do not have a spot in my house where I could sit down and read the newspaper, and it's nothing but quiet. I get nothing but the sound going. And I'm not the only one. Next door neighbor gets it just as loud as I do. And we talked to the gentleman that was here the last time, and he was gonna check into it. Needless to say, heard nothing. You know? So, I'm asking the board to ask the gentleman here if anything can be done about that.
Well, as I stated earlier, one of the resulting issues with putting the dome up is the coverage of the sound
For that pad.
for that pad, right. And other than that pad right now, you're not testing things outdoors,
There's one program that only tests outside.
only tests outside.
It's a little bit further north, but it is there.
Okay.
It's not all the time, but they do test outside.
Same equipment,
Different equipment,
different type of equipment.
same type of, it's a radar.
It's a
but
radar,
not-
right.
It's not the same type that'll be on the pad, smaller.
So the noise he's talking about, is that coming from the domes? Or from the outside?
They can go boom, boom. They don't, they make noise when they rotate.
Basically, that's what it is. Of course, I'm back to saying, why should we have to put up with that sound? Nobody on the board has to put up with that sound,
Well,
you know?
Sue does when she drives the bus up there, and I do because I live down the street.
You don't hear it either.
I don't, well, no.
You're way down the end.
No, I mostly hear my wife when I'm in the house. I mostly hear my wife when I'm in the house. Do you do any sound, I know you have employees there, so you must have do some sound surveys for
We
employee,
do RF surveys, but they don't, obviously when they rotate, we don't stand next to the equipment, we have to be, in the buildings or away from
Right, right. Any idea what the decibel level is
the.
on
I
the,
can check on that, I'm sure they have that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can look.
yeah. I'm sure your health and safety department would have that for the employees.
Right.
And what hours of the day is this taking place?
Yeah,
Well,
No, we're talking to him, Mike.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
I don't know the site schedule, but I'm assuming they do it 3 shifts.
around the clock.
But yes.
Yep, yep.
do you hear it all hours, Mike?
Yes, especially when you go to bed at night, quiet, supposedly, and that's all you hear. It's just like it's right outside my window.
Is it low frequency sound?
Pardon?
Is it low frequency sound? Full
Well,
spectrum?
yeah, it's not super loud, but it's something that's constant, just constant.
I'd be curious to know what the decibel levels.
I can contact them tomorrow. and have that.
Um, I do walk down there, I walk my dog down there, and, I have a background in health and safety, and I know those decibel levels off that property are far below, what's required.
Yeah, they're definitely below 90.
Way below 90. They're probably down in the 50 or less range. So they certainly don't exceed community levels, from my perspective. But I do know what Mike is talking about. I do know the humming sound, which is inherent to a facility that does the kind of work you do.
And that work is gonna stay consistent, right? It's, you're rebuilding the structure for this, to do the same purpose that it.
Yeah, some of that sound will be muffled more if it's in the dome on that end,
Okay.
but the sites that work outside will be the same.
So for the purposes of site plan review and record, it's, should be noted, it's the same use, you know, not changing the use.
But in this particular dome, the sound should be lower.
It should be lower.
Yeah, because there's a covering.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That doesn't exist now.
correct. They use the pad right now, and
It's just open, yeah.
the engineers are getting softer, so we need to give them some.
So where do you use the open air testing on the site?
It's
Is it
just north of
the last dome?
the dome that we're doing now.
Okay, so
So
it's in,
between the new building that we just built
yeah,
and the new dome we want to build.
and it needs to be there.
Yes, based on the other side of the valley that we use for.
So, just so that I'm clear, so it's mechanical noise? The dome rotating?
No, they, radar within the dome.
Radar within it.
So does it sound like a,
So is it motor noise?
They don't always turn, sometimes they receive stationary, but when they do, rotate.
So it's a motor?
It's motor or the bearing that
The bearing
The
that's on
traction
the
it gives, yeah.
the receiver is pretty heavy.
At the last meeting, the gentleman we talked to, he stated about the bearing, all right? And there again, he was gonna check into it and see if there was a problem with that.
Who that was, and when that
No,
was.
they should know.
Bless you.
In the records.
But there was a bearing problem, is that what you're saying, Mike?
That's what he told, well, Paul and I talked, that's what he told us. He said it could be a bearing and it's making louder noise. When it gets to a certain point when it turns. I don't know. You know, but I'm not the only one on our road. I know people who live down on Orange Delphi Road. They've been complaining also. Since all this has been going on. So, you know. And there again, like I say, why should we have to put up with that? That's a big inconvenience, let's face it. If you don't have any quiet place in your house at all, really. And what? Tear down the house and move? No?
I do appreciate you bringing this up, Mike. I do have a question for Tim. Has the town received any formal written complaints? So,
Only
Like-
everybody at the last meetings,
like,
okay? And there
where-
again, we get to a point then, why write something, give it to you or whatever,
it
and you know what's
goes,
gonna happen.
It's not the planning board's role though to get in between a civil dispute between neighbors and property owners. All they're doing now is reviewing the site plan of an existing site, of an existing use. So they're not, unfortunately, as empathetic as anyone can be in your situation, able to kind of enforce anything at this time, or if that wouldn't be the role of the planning board.
Or, because there's no change in the operation.
Correct.
You
Right.
guys are just put the dome over a pad.
Constructing.
Right. Which I would think would help with that, because that dome is the closest to where Mike is, and when you have a piece of equipment on that dome, that's gonna be closest to where Michael is.
I thought it wasn't running now. Or is there a dome up there now?
No, but they
No,
put
no,
That's
the,
what I'm saying.
the equipment
That
that's
same
going to-
dome's gonna be up, correct? That's running now?
No, there's no dome on the pad right now. We're
No,
gonna
but
redo
I
it
mean where
and
the
then put
noise
a
is
dome
coming
on it.
from before, now.
Right, it'll be further north, so it could potentially block some of that
right.
going that way, but I don't know.
So Michael, they've been testing the equipment from time to time on that pad without any kind of cover on it. Now they're gonna put a cover on it, which will block some of the noise and the lighting and the sounds and such. That's what the dome is there for.
For this pad, yes.
Yes, for this pad that doesn't have a dome.
How did they pick that spot and what is the purpose of it?
The spot is already existing.
Yeah,
There was a dome there historically. The site has been active since during the Second World War.
I see, okay.
Yeah, it was a GE site
It's-
prior to Lockheed Martin and acquisitions and whatnot, but the site has been a radar testing site. And they test between Windy Hill Lane and the hill on the other side of the valley there in Cazenovia. That's the receiver,
Yep.
Transmitter on the other side.
the transmit, and then
What are
the
the tests for?
radar. They have mobile radar units that they build for the military.
Yeah,
They build them over in Liverpool, and then they bring them up here to do the testing to ensure that they're working correctly.
I see, okay.
can I have your name and address, please?
My name is Lisa Weiss, and my address.
She's got that one. Thank you.
So the sound is not like power transformer noise, it's only when it moves? Because if, okay.
Yeah, it's a heavy radar on a heavy truck.
Right, it doesn't make any noise when it receives.
Right. Just when it's rotating. There's an electric motor that turns it, and it sits on a big bearing, and
So how often does it turn?
It's a constant,
I mean, it keeps, that's what I'm saying, it
Yeah.
keeps doing that, so that's why you hear a continuous sound.
correct.
Kind of make it sound like it only, goes once, and then there's quiet, and then it goes again. It doesn't, it just keeps going constant.
So can you give us the decibel readings reported to Tim? Tim, can you let him know and let the board know what the answer was to that?
I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
So you are doing open air testing on that pad currently, Bill?
Right.
Okay.
And it also has a shelter that's with it that they operate out of, all the test equipment goes into. The new dome will have that shelter
Within the
inside,
dome, right.
So that should also reduce.
Right. What is the material the dome is actually made of? Is it like a canvas or?
Some do, this one would be more of like a poly.
Yep.
Non-conductive stainless steel fittings,
Mhm.
nuts and bolts. It's non-ferrous.
Yes. So the radar can shoot through it. Yes, yes. It doesn't get heated up.
Is there anybody else from the public wishes to question and comment? Hearing none, make a motion to close the public hearing.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing is now closed. Any further comments or questions? Board?
So, since they've been doing this operation up there for the length of time they have, I've lived on the road, I don't know, close to 30 years, and you really haven't changed anything that you've been doing, at least in that period of time, except put more armor on the vehicles. There is no change in what they're doing. They're continuing that operation. Is it necessary for us to get decibel readings? And when we do get those readings, which I really think would be something Tim should look into as code enforcement, not as the planning board, because it's been that same noise for however long they've been operating there, is, I personally feel it's an unnecessary burden on the applicant that we hold off for something that has been going on for years and years and hasn't changed. Now, if there is a noise complaint, then that's where Tim would come in and go up there and make a complaint as opposed to us getting readings and making decisions on how we would remedy that.
Totally agree.
Okay,
I
so
agree.
that's my 12.5 cents. Used to be 2 cents, but with inflation, it's gone up.
How big is the property?
You can take a look right here and get a picture of. Hang on a second, Mike. We closed it? Yes. Okay, John, do you remember what the acreage was? I think it was, why do I think 3.5 or something?
No, it's on there.
Did it do?
I could say one more thing.
Well, the public hearing has been closed, but Sue, you'll,
This is 12.21 acres,
12 acres.
12.
with the adjacent piece totaling 17.67 acres.
And it is what's called an overlay district. Okay, it's, I believe, agricultural, and many years ago, before my time at least, slightly, the district was approved to have that facility there, and it's been there continuously since its inception. It's just changed hands with acquisitions and whatnot, went from General Electric or GE to Lockheed Martin, but same facility, same basic footprint and such.
So Mike, we did close the public hearing. I guess I would encourage, if it's a question that you want to ask Lockheed Martin directly afterwards, go ahead, but that's,
I just wanted, if I could comment on one thing that Kevin was saying. Probably the noise has been there for like 30 years.
Right.
It hasn't been, right? I'm gonna say within roughly 10 years or so, it's gotten more. In the past 3-4 years, it's really got loud, all right? When GE was up there was no noise. When Lockheed first moved in, there wasn't any noise, all right? So whatever they've been doing up there, whatever they've been putting in, it's gotta be a lot bigger and noisier, let's face it.
Have you had any substantial changes in your operation up there in the last 10 years?
Well, the equipment is now bigger, better.
Bigger and better,
It's not,
yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
1980 anymore, it's,
yeah. Yep,
and we do use it extensive, it's, 1.8 miles to the other side, and it's perfect testing for radar.
yeah. Thus, the reason for you citing it in that location. And your engineers have been much better in terms of their speed on the,
I hope so.
absolutely. Yeah.
tell them all the time.
Yeah, so they seem to behave. I think I'm known as the traffic cop up there by the,
Pretty end.
yes. It's fine. There's kids on the street. So where do we go from here?
So make a motion.
Okay?
I do have one question on the maps. Looking through, how do you differentiate the maps you gave us tonight versus the ones we got last week? Because I'm looking at the dates and they both say January 24th, and I can't find.
Well, I'll need to update that with John's comments, which I can resubmit.
Repeat that again?
I can resubmit with John's comments with,
I just want to make sure that we have the right,
There's no revision date on the plans.
yeah.
correct.
So in the motion, we usually refer to the maps dated such and such, and they're both dated the same. So
You submitted two versions
Yeah,
with the same date, so the board is just saying, we need to distinguish between your previous submittal and this one.
Can we use the date of the submittals for now, because they're gonna add some stuff that you've requested also.
Yeah.
So there'll be a final map with a final
Right.
date on it.
right.
So we can, in a motion, we can refer to,
Refer to it as amendment 2024.
So, so we could do a motion to say, referring to the.
where's the tax map?
See, you want to just, you know,
It's not on these parts, is it?
sure.
That's, so the main drawing that's being changed to C102, is that correct?
Yes.
And that's the only one, because
C
that's,
102, and then I changed the C 103 to show the future range building and the existing range building, which has already been built. So those are the only two.
I don't know what's changed.
yeah, so this says existing,
Should have said, yes, existing.
so that's correct.
Yep.
Okay.
Is there
But
a
in
revision
the
date?
original submission, yeah,
Did you
I
make
got
a
it.
revision date on that?
I didn't, but I
Okay.
need to.
Alright, so the difference is in sheet 102 and 103, there were minor differences, changes made, and there'll be further changes made to 102. So there'll need to be a new date.
Right, so the final drawings that will come for signature will have John's changes on it and a new date.
Correct.
Okay, and we'll just mention that in the motion if necessary, okay? I need the tax map number. And Mike, for your issue of noise, so you're not thinking that we're up here not paying attention, after the meeting or sometime in the near future, Tim is the guy you should talk to, and Tim should probably take a drive up there to just witness it yourself. You'll be going up there anyway during construction, I suspect.
Yep.
To make sure they use the right concrete and such. So, so that would be a better avenue for you, Mike, because that's really what Tim's position is with the town, is to enforce those ordinances such as noise and such. So, not thinking that we're not paying attention to you, but as
We hear you, but that's not our purview.
as Amelia has mentioned. So, so yeah, don't think you're not being heard, okay?
And Tim does have a sound meter.
Eventually,
Not yet?
Not yet?
any day now,
Okay.
we're working on it.
I thought Amazon had overnight deliveries. Okay, so,
Need tax map number.
yeah, what was the tax map number you had? You borrowed that. Okay,
I have it here.
I got it.
Oh, you got it.
I'm good, I'm good,
Yeah,
I'm good.
thank you.
You ready?
Yep.
You ready? Tom, you ready? So I would like to make a motion that we approve the site plan submitted by Lockheed Martin for the rebuild of a dome building used for equipment testing in the same location as a previous dome located at 3254 Windy Hill Lane in the town of Pompey, tax map number 015-02-22.0, with the stipulation that the final drawings with changes made by the town engineer, dated when those changes are accepted by the engineer. Those will be the dated drawings. The motion is based on maps dated January 2024 with changes submitted May 20th, 2024. How'd I do?
To C 102 and C
C
103.
103.
Yeah, maps,
Specifically maps C,
specifically maps
C 102.
102, 103, and they'll also be the maps that'll include your changes, John? Okay. So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Carl second.
John, you gotta be quicker.
Okay,
I didn't hear it.
he did say it. Any further discussion? Hearing none, motion to approve? Aye. Or-
Aye.
Yeah, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion has carried.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And please, if you're able to get that information, that would be helpful.
I'll make that priority.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
That's true. So did
Where
I.
should I put in the Cs?
It's based on these submissions.
So the motion is dated based on maps C 102 and C 103, dated January 24.
Yes,
Changes submitted in
submitted by Lockheed Martin. Map submitted by them.
Okay, my agenda.
Okay, sorry, Sue.
Keep it quiet, thank you. Okay, next on our agenda is a Nappy subdivision. This is a preliminary review of a subdivision of 2 existing lots into 3 lots located at 6941 Casanta Drive and 4271 Gates Road in the town of Pompey. Tax map numbers 01-02-14.14 and 01-06-04. Are those map numbers?
The map numbers don't match. Is it-
It's what's written on the app, but the format of the
Yeah.
numbers don't line up
Okay.
with ours.
This is 14-.4. Not that.
Some dots and dashes,
Okay.
so. Okay, representative, come on up, approach the board.
Hi, Attorney Jonathan Schechter in Buffalo and Jacob Grubka from representing Mr. Nappy is also there with the plans. How are you?
Good, thanks. We gotta turn your volume up a little bit here. Okay, let's try that again.
Okay,
Whoa.
is that better?
You don't have to eat the mic, though. Okay.
That's all right. Attorney Jonathan Schechter for Mr. Nappy and the Nappy Farm and the Knapp Alliance Property Group that owns it, attorney in Buffalo, New York. And then you have Jacob Grubka with those nice knees knocking in front of you there. Okay. Thank you for the preliminary review of our subdivision. As you know, and I think on the application, it's, the Alliance Property Group does have, a farm property, up on Casanta and Gates, which is a pretty large property. And we've been working with the town and our Mr. Hannig, our surveyor, to try and find a way to have the property subdivided in a manner that would make sense. So in the future, it'd be a little more usable for farm purposes, residential purposes, and the like. So at the moment, with our preliminary review, we wanted to break it into 3 lots, and Jacob, maybe we want to show them all 3, starting with maybe on the big ones, maybe on, I would start with lot 2C on Casanta, where we have frontage on Casanta and a guest house there already. And I believe there's a septic system on this site already. Then we're going to create a lot 2B, which really connects enough frontage on Casanta to create an ability to get into, I would call it, let's call it Center Farm. They call it Upper Farm, where most of the residential is located. We're going to put in place a shared driveway agreement for lots 2B and 2C. As you can see, they come in off of Casanta. And they would just use one driveway at that point. There's no reason to do another curb cut. Because as you pull in, you can, the 2B owner could drive in, have the frontage, and have an easement across the driving area to get to what we call the Center Upper Farm. So, Jacob, let me know if I should slow down and you can point.
That's the same drawing we have here, I think, so you're good.
It is, okay.
Yeah, you're good.
With the same line, I know we updated
Tim
the
is-
line.
Just showing us.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so we have the same
But
drawing.
he's.
Tim, we're
also-
good. Are you good? Yeah, we've got the same drawing in front of us that he was showing us upside down.
Thanks, Tim.
Nice different view.
And then fronting on Gates Road as we're heading easterly. So I started kind of west to east through the farm. We then have the lower farm where most of the barns and I think the animals are and the like, and that would end up being about, I think, an 87 acre or so parcel that would have the frontage on Gates and the ability to get in to Gates that way. So we set it up so nobody's landlocked anymore. We've set it up so we really have most residential pieces coming in primarily off of Casanta, off the shared driveway. And then we would be coming in off of Gates, where we do have an entranceway where we could still make room for a double, if we have emergency room. We were going to put in another easement to allow lot 2B to run over 2A to come over the farm area, because we have the ingress egress driveways there also. And so that's what we were trying to look at. We were trying to make sure it complies with the frontage, the road frontage. That was a little tricky. It was very tricky having the center residential lot not be landlocked anymore.
Make it a full size.
So I think we have I think we have a pretty good idea on what to do, and we just, we'd love to know, the pre-planning meeting, what your thoughts are, and if there's anything else.
So the shared driveway is gonna come in on lot 2B, and that's also the access to lot 2A?
2B.
Yeah, no,
What's that continuation down to?
yeah, no, that's, I think that's if you're looking at the top corner, that actually is still part of lot 2B next to that.
The driveway, right?
Yeah, no, it's 2A, the driveway supports 2C and 2B, the main driveway. That's the main residential driveway.
So the map in the upper corner is mislabeled?
I believe that is a good statement. Yeah, that's wrong. It says 2A there. That's not true. That should be, that's right connected.
What's this for?
Yeah, it's connected to it's the most westerly piece. So it can only be connected to the middle piece, which is 2B.
Lot 2C is just gonna be the guest house. 2B is all gonna be, so this is what's gonna make this a qualifying lot.
You've got that, Jacob? I don't know if you can see that.
And what's throwing us is because this should be over here, and we're trying to place.
Yes, so that's this piece right here.
That's what we're seeing up in the upper corner.
Yes. So then, and then actually this is labeled 2A, and it should be 2B.
Okay, that's what's screwing us.
So this line here
2B.
should be 2B, so the L should go with this piece.
Right, so there's not a 2A, that was.
Right, 2A, I guess is
Down here.
to the right.
Right.
Yep, on Gates. Yep.
So that's the same lot. 2B goes all the way around.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that makes more sense now.
So, and what's existing right now is just one big lot?
Two big lots. So it's this whole, and then this piece here.
And that's the piece that's up in the
We can
corner.
only outline one parcel at a time. So,
So those are the two. This is one big one. I think this is 140 some acres, and
currently,
this is 26-ish.
under currently. So the big one up there essentially is divided into 2B and 2C. And the one that's not outlined essentially is 2A, essentially, give or take.
2B,
2B and 2A.
2B and 2A. 2A is the big one, Sue, right?
Yes.
Does 2A encompass 2C? Currently?
No.
It's just confusing, John.
Well, because
Yeah.
it's already in non-conforming property.
Yes.
Why couldn't you shrink it down a little bit and put everything together where it should be?
I ask Bob that all the time, but he doesn't. It's just the way he does it.
That's what it should look like,
Yes.
right?
Right. Absolutely.
I did it in the office.
We did, yeah,
You did.
cut and a paste, yeah.
The old-fashioned way.
I did the tear and paste.
Yep.
Okay, so.
But I'm just trying to, again, get, that's not helping me get a handle on what's currently,
It's not,
how it's currently,
scaled.
I guess I can look at my tax ID now.
How it currently is?
Oh, I see how that goes.
So how it currently is this lot 2B and 2A.
Pictures of. It isn't
Right, all this lot, all of this here, which is over here, is usually 126 acres. What we're taking 7 acres for a driveway and giving it to.
So what makes
That
this
makes
current
sense.
lot,
This.
has the current front, the correct frontage for this lot that comes up here.
Correct.
So there's no frontage up
It's not the, for the
Coming out of
biggest
CB,
piece. Currently, right now, no.
32C.
So that's why we give them frontage over here.
Okay.
And these two pieces are more residential, where this is more farm and ag.
So where you drawing the line between 2B and 2A,
Yes.
what are the setbacks on those
So
buildings?
this whole thing is Carol Nappy right now,
Correct.
and then this is Alliance property.
Yes.
What you're trying to do is take Carol's, just
I believe it's 5 feet.
So the question is, what's the setbacks between 2A and 2B gonna end up being on the final map? What's that distance?
So this is 2B, not 2A.
Right.
Right,
when we
right
redo
here,
this, what are the
in between these two
setbacks?
buildings here, and this
Yeah,
building here,
it's
5 feet.
5 feet?
5 feet.
What is that building? Are they barns or house or what?
It's barns. It's a maintenance shop for lawnmowers and rakes.
What's the smaller building to the north?
Oh, sorry, that's what that one is. This other, the round circle one, the
Yeah.
longer one, that one is a horse arena. So that's what's called a walker. It's a
That's the circle is the walker?
walker,
Yeah,
yeah. And then, sorry, the smaller barn to the north, that's the shop for lawnmowers.
You need a variance there, because it's a
I
20
was gonna
foot.
say it, it's not, yeah.
Yes.
Any idea of how high that building is, that wood frame barn with the round?
Which one?
The riding building.
Oh. How high that one is?
Yeah, I'm just
Peaked roof?
concerned about 5.5 feet of setback. If that's gonna be enough. Based on the height of the building.
Similar height to probably is that one, that house over
Yeah,
there.
that's probably a horse arena would be that way.
I
But the
wouldn't
walk,
say much.
the walker
I mean, it's got like a Willow's Peak, so that's probably the highest point of it, but probably smaller than that, but.
the walker's got the widow's peak, right, but. Yeah, the setback
Attached to the whole barn though, so.
between the line here, 5.5 feet, is that should, that's.
It should be 20 or?
Code is
Well,
20.
what's that?
20.
You just
20,
said code
yeah,
is
20.
20.
Okay.
That wasn't on the other side.
So basically, there's two things there. One is the setback, and then we do have a, in the code, relation of setback and height.
To height, right.
So we need to know the height to figure this out.
Here and
Okay.
here are the issues.
Right.
And the smaller barn up,
What's
the
that,
one
this,
that little split.
that little one here?
Yep.
Yeah,
So that the little small barn here,
Yes.
you need to know the height of that for setback also.
Okay.
Is that
That's even
is that
closer.
on a pad, or is it freestanding, or a pole barn, or what is it?
Which one?
The little
We're
one?
talking about.
The big one?
No,
little
the
one.
little
Or that little one there?
That one, I think it's got a concrete floor in it.
Okay.
I know it's got a concrete floor in it, so, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's surrounded by tarvia.
I think if it was,
Because there's also, it says concrete wall, right?
well,
That's
just
attached
wanna
to
make
it.
sure.
I mean, the
But if that
front
was
of this
not
building is
Fixed, essentially.
over here,
Right, setback, that would be
probably
there.
10 feet tall. And in the back, it's probably 30.
30 feet tall.
Is
It goes down in grade. And then it's like the back of a house. One story in front, but then two in the back, and it goes down,
Sorry.
very similar to that.
So, I mean, that may not be enough setback there. You'd have to check our code.
We had no problem moving it.
No, then you get into setback on these buildings.
Yes.
You might have enough room.
There might be enough room.
Regarding dimensions, like,
But there's a formula based on the height of the building.
Yeah.
So that might, I don't know what this distance is, but that might.
Well, it's just for the lines going
Now they got it down there.
on that side.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is.
Is there anything in
We're-
your code about?
Yeah, 'cause
Hey, if I
it's-
only mess up one fence, I do it in between there or something.
So, Jacob, is it if you look at the screen share I just put up, just to make sure we're looking at the right, we're worried about this line here, am I correct? By the riding barn and the north-south line there?
Right, there's not enough setback where the circle is off that barn, that's the Walker.
Right, and then were you talking about the small upper one where it
Yeah,
kind of
the small upper
says
one.
9 feet?
Yes.
That needs setback also.
Yeah, I was,
And
yeah.
there's another one on lot 2C that's right on and over the line that you've got driven.
Yeah,
That's not it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so if I circle that.
yeah,
So is this one on a pad too?
Yeah, it's even
What's that?
over
This
the
one,
line.
is on a pad or?
Yes, it is. Yeah, actually, that was always existing. That one was,
this is one-story frame.
the 3-car garage that goes with 6941. And that was always there. And then when they bought this land up here, which was a field, they built the house.
So you're saying this line's been here before?
Yeah,
This property line
my understanding,
is
yeah,
existing, and that was
That is-
built like that?
is my understanding,
These
yeah.
horses are in this paddock, I don't understand.
If I stand correctly, I started working for him in 2007. And I think in 2005, he bought this property
Yeah,
here,
I'm trying to understand.
which was all existing, which is this piece here too.
So you're doing away with all the horse stuff on the inside?
Not necessarily the horse stuff, just more cows on,
Or,
more
so
cattle.
this is, over here is gonna be cattle, over here is gonna be the horses?
Yes, more horses here and cattle here.
Okay, yes, got it. And they're gonna share this one, the horses and the cows. Just tell them there's a board.
Yes.
Beavers?
That was what I was.
Beavers, yeah.
If
These are all horse fencing.
We found it.
Yeah.
This is all cattle fencing.
Yeah, so for
So
the
right now,
design
the only
standards,
residence on the whole
for
lot
the
is this one.
code,
Wait, say that.
so
Hey, guys, listen up.
for the design standards for lot dimensions, per the code, excessive depth in relation to the width shall be avoided. A proportion of 2.5 to 1 will normally be considered maximum. So,
2B is way off of that. So whether that constitutes a need for a variance or a waiver of those standards,
it'd have to be a variance.
right?
That, what was that number again? I mean, 2.5 to,
2.5 to 1.
But it's kind of worded like it's not mandatory. What-
Yes,
it
it
says-
will normally be considered maximum. So. This is,
So,
You understand what they're talking about, John?
Mhm.
Explain it.
Flag lot.
Oh, right, it becomes a flag.
2B is definitely a flag lot.
Yep, yep. A strange flag at that.
So I mean, if it's 250, you're talking about 750 deep, something like that. And this is like twice that, plus this, so you're 2,000, 1,600, 1,700.
Attorney, are you hearing this? chatter?
I'm hearing chatter. I wasn't sure where we left off on where we're having a problem now along which line. on-
Well, it's
on
a
height-wise.
flag lot 2B.
But we have frontage.
Yeah,
But in our design standards that we're to avoid flag lots, and the standard generally is a 2.5 to 1 ratio. And even though you may have
Oh, the right amount of frontage on the
appropriate road
Kasana, it's still
frontage,
a flag lot, right?
It'll have too much depth.
too much depth for, yeah,
Oh,
Correct.
The shall,
Or-
yeah, so it would have to go to the ZBA,
shall be
shall be
avoided.
avoided, and then.
Well,
So,
So
Okay,
it
so-
shall be avoided, you'd have to get a variance.
yeah, I would think so. And to be honest with you, we actually thought about making it a true flag lot without Casanta ownership on the roadway because we need so much frontage, but we were thinking maybe this is a better way to go for it and ask for that variance if we do give it frontage, even though you have such a deep lot, deep lot, flag lot in there in the center.
what was the other option you were thinking of?
Well, the other option was to make it a true flag lot. And if you jump to, and actually, I don't know how well your screen is working. But this corner piece that we all got confused on. Okay. Really, I would not have had this to be cut here in corner to get the frontage on Casanta. I could have just made it a true flag lot and said, let's have easements to get in and out. But Mr. Hannick and I were worried that you guys would definitely think that was a little crazy. So we decided, okay, let's parcel up lot 2C and give some frontage on Casana
So
to get in.
You're saying that your other option was only through an easement, but there would be no actual road frontage.
There would be no road frontage because right now I believe that parcel 1 with the small house on it, I believe that's what it looks like. Basically, it's part of this 2B down here at the south and along the westerly line is all part of like 2C now.
Yeah. Frankly, in my opinion, that is an even worse option.
No.
That's why we came up with the Casanta roadway. We agreed. So, yeah, I think it's more, I'm not sure I'm not sure how else, I mean, and I do appreciate having, talking to the board because you're so good at what you do. It was hard to figure out how to get that residential 2B upper farm, center lot, flag lot, whatever we want to call it, in a manner that could give us enough frontage, either on Gates or Casanta. So that was the lesser of all our evils and hoping that we could maybe get a variance if need be.
On board
ZBA.
Well, it's,
for variance.
oh, yeah, okay, yeah. If it's gonna go the route of a variance, obviously it's gonna be a 2-board process. Because our town has a ZBA.
Yep,
separate board
understood.
that They would have to grant the variances, you'd have to seek those, apply for and seek those variances, and then if they approve them, then it comes back to the site or the subdivision before us.
And then I gotta figure out what to do with that.
Yeah, now, I'm sorry, your first name?
Jacob.
Jacob informs us there's a 1-story frame that's on lot 2C and borders 2B. And by his recollection, it looks like it's built on the property line. And Jacob thinks or recollects that it's always been like that.
Always is a long word.
Well, as far as he can remember.
Jacob,
Since we purchased.
Jacob, which one are we talking about between,
The main house and the guest house here. So
The
it's,
main house and the guest heading westerly?
Yes, towards Casanta.
Yeah, where it says one-story
Right there.
Right
you're on.
garage,
Yes,
this?
yes.
I guess my question is, the chicken or the egg, was the building built before or after that property line got there?
We think it was built, before the property line got there, but I didn't do the acquisition of this portion, so I'm not 100% sure.
I think 2005 is when he purchased that. And then he purchased, empty lot where 2B is now.
Yeah,
But that garage was there, when he bought 6941 Casanta.
and maybe somebody thought the rock wall could have been the property line that's directly to the east of that one-story frame garage. But so but what I'm seeing is, and what I'm hearing, and rightfully so, is that we have some serious setback violations where it is with the one-story garage, which I think I'm sharing on the screen and I circled in my top left corner. Definitely these two buildings down in the farm area, okay? As opposed to having a flag lot that's, 2.5 times bigger than the frontage, so, road frontage, so that would require a variance. Hopefully I sounded like I knew what I was talking about, so.
Yeah.
But I'd rather, and so if we either need to go back and look at these lines a little bit, so that we can get away from the setback violations, unless we can get a variance for, for example, the riding circle there at the 5.5 feet. I don't know if we can get a variance for that. And the frame barn, that's even goes from 9 feet to 5.2 feet. Again, the same thing. Is that worth getting a variance on there? A setback violation variance.
Is that a question?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you guys are, I'm just, yeah, I don't mind pleading for advice on my hands and knees, I mean, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, I would think that if we were gonna put that middle line between, 2B and 2C, okay, those are 2A and 2B, these two buildings are a problem, okay, because they're too close. So, so the first, if this is a line we can live with there and we could go get a variance, that wouldn't affect health or safety and concerns for anyone, that would be that'd be one way to look at it. And then this one, which is really on the property line, something will have to be, we'll have to figure something out. Either move that line more westerly, so it's not on a building, which makes sense. But that's actually the only thing I can think of. Let's probably move that over westerly, so the line's not there. Because I don't think you can go easterly, because now you're moving into the main residential lot at 4271.
But even if you move it to the rock wall, you're probably still gonna need a variance there too.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
If you move it to the rock wall, then you may need a variance for that as well.
Correct. If I move it either right or left and it's not far enough, I still think I may need a variance. But I think one thing we can agree upon, having it on the line is probably a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's like a shed encroachment. Somebody will complain.
Well, somebody's got prescribed rights, but
Did you have something, John?
So on the, rather than incorporating the setbacks into a variance, why not just move the line between 2B and 2A to get enough setback?
Yeah, I think, and I think probably the only, you know, direction,
Like you.
yeah, I would have to see how far I could, if I move it easterly,
We could definitely do
how
that.
far can I move it easterly without encroaching on the setback requirement that this, the building that I have in the center here, there's that one-story garage on 2A. I gotta be careful of that one.
I would think if you're gonna get a variance, you wanna minimize that problem as much as possible by moving that line.
Yeah,
But then there is,
That's a big ask.
I mean, this is 120 feet.
So we can give ideas and suggestions and point out what we know about the code, and it's food for thought, but at this point, this
no,
is,
that's why it's a preliminary hearing. I mean, it's good to hear these.
yeah, I do have a
Criticism.
question. Going over to Gates Road, there's currently one driveway,
Okay, let me slide over, let me zoom out. Just so
and
we
you're
can all
also
look at the same thing.
asking, is that right of way already existing, or you're asking to?
We were gonna create a right of way for 2B to drive across 2A, as long as it's non-commercial vehicles. Yeah. So 2B would be able to get in from Gates Road and would also be able to get in from Casanta.
There could be a road that goes here without disturbing this, but yeah.
Fire service is a tree.
So the 20-foot ingress and egress easement, who is that for, or what is that?
It's for the flag lot. It benefits the flag lot. Let's call it that, yeah. Benefits the flag lot.
So that's.
Then what do they need this one on?
I don't know, so is this new and that's new?
This,
I guess is that the question?
So you're talking about on Gates Road, right?
No, Gates Road.
Yeah.
They've got listed under the current driveway, 20-foot ingress and egress, but then they also show a 60-foot right of way.
Right.
Yeah, you're almost.
right, okay.
What or why? Both?
Well, he was saying it benefits, or it's for the flag lot. I think we're on the opposite side of the map.
Yeah, Gates is here, the flag
To
lot's
get
here.
over,
That's why they needed the entrance on Cassandra.
Right.
So the flag lot would have access from Gates and Casanta. And theoretically, frontage on Casanta, which really doesn't resolve its flag lot issue. But now that I now know, we would have to seek a variance for that.
How would a flag lot have access to Gates?
For the easement.
Through this whole.
through this,
Squirrely thing here.
yeah.
Yeah, they would be able to drive through any of the driveways to get to their lot using passenger vehicles only.
What about fire vehicles?
I would think that it definitely could be used for emergency use as long as they can get up the hill. It's a pretty steep hill, right, Jacob?
There's just one section that's a little tricky.
Okay,
We have gone through with the fire department
And
on the
they,
property.
yeah, cause there's like law, regulations that we have to get so much water to the building
Right,
within
yeah.
so much time, yeah.
and I don't think we could have built the buildings without meeting those regulations either. I gotta assume that we something
until-
was, yeah, there's no way you could build what we built up there without being able to get to it.
How did you get here?
All through 6941.
Right,
Yeah.
cause it wasn't
Because
divided.
they own both properties.
Right, okay.
So at that point, there was no need to do anything.
Yep. Alrighty then. We'll leave it to you to make the decisions.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to, we're gonna go back to our, Mr. Hanig. We will pick, code officer's brain as we're trying to put this together to move forward with, a better breakup of the lots, so we're not hitting those setbacks. And probably sounds like the one thing I've really learned is that we're definitely gonna need a variance for that flag lot. Just giving it frontage didn't do it, didn't solve the problem. I think that's a correct statement.
Yes,
Okay. All right. that-
our
But-
engineer has a couple comments, I think.
Yeah, that'd be great.
The 3 lots that are being created, is there a single-family residence on each one of them? Or does one of them only have accessory buildings?
Single family residence is on lot 2C. On Gates. We'll call it the flag lot with the frontage also on Casana. That's 2B. And then I believe 2C is all farm, or 2A is all farm, correct? All farm
There's
property.
there's no living structure on 2A.
I don't think there's a living structure on 2A. I think that's all.
That's an issue? Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
do
an
we
issue
need a
too.
living structure there to create it?
We have, like, not a living structure, but like a barn.
No,
That's
but
like office, this thing right here,
yeah, that's not,
but that's not,
an office wouldn't count.
does have a septic. Waters,
Where's the septic, Jacob, on 2A or 2A, B, and C? Don't all 3 of them have septic?
it's labeled barn, more like
Yeah.
an office.
And it also is a little
It does
closer
have
to the line.
septic.
Okay,
And it needs a setback, and that's also a setback issue,
6.38 feet.
yeah. It's also a setback. Too close to this line.
Okay.
are you talking about the 2 buildings on 2A?
Yeah, the one building on 2A that he calls the office, which is labeled barn,
Yeah,
is again too close to the line.
With 4275 Gates Road.
oh, that one. Oh. This one?
Yep.
Sorry, blocking that, right there?
Yes,
Oh my, okay.
Okay, now, looking at that, what's that? That barn set 6.38 feet off, and it says the property at.
It's 4275 Gates Road.
But you guys own that?
We do, we do.
And your septic easement from that barn goes into that parcel?
Yes,
That parcel has a house?
Yes.
Where's that septic?
believe it's.
Who's the Linger Trust?
It's also
It's a related trust.
with Nappies.
That house has nothing to do with the farm, though.
No, no. No, so that house.
so you need a house on 2A is what you're saying, John?
That's
Yes.
4275,
Kind of got blocked
that's
out.
the barn slash office,
There's
so the
this-
septic's there, but then this house septic
This
is
house,
kind of that corner here.
that's the barn.
So the septic for that office is on another piece of property?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So originally, when we bought, there was a lot of parcels
yeah.
when we bought all this. This was a parcel, this was a small parcel, this was different, this was different, this was different, this was different. This used to be together. And then we just separated, kept this a 3.6 acre lot. Basically took farmland from it. So this is more residential lot.
Those just simple line changes, they didn't come before us, I wouldn't think. We wouldn't have
Well,
approved,
if you reduce the numbers and the uses all the same.
we wouldn't approve the buildings being that close to the line with the adjustment.
No, we wouldn't.
How long ago was that stuff done?
I started in 2007, so
So the
I'm
question,
guessing the house was built in like 2006.
Yeah.
okay, but specific to,
To this one,
yeah,
we probably bought this, I'm guessing 2012.
so here's, here's a question that,
10?
and all the morphing, this and that,
Yeah.
that when you, if you subdivided off that lot, was that barn or office built before or after that new lot line got put in?
Before. This barn was with this house, and it was existing, we just remodeled it,
How did that lot line get there?
and then it is septic.
Anyway. Lots to do.
Yeah, there's a lot to do here.
That just brings up a point, wherever you create these new lot lines, make sure the septic systems go with the buildings on the
Yeah.
same lot. And the
But how
wells,
did they get
so
approved?
we avoid any more cross easements.
I don't think it came, I think
I
it
don't
was a
think-
line adjustment. I don't think we would have had that before us.
Unless it was really a long time ago. Maybe way before the.
You wouldn't have approved something like that.
No, we wouldn't have done
No.
that, but I'm just saying
No.
it must have gotten done before.
But it may not have, if it was a simple line adjustment, maybe it was just done by,
Administratively.
right.
Or not?
So I can tell you when the
Tim's
house and the
predecessor.
garage were built,
So
I
you don't
can't
get-
tell
you
you
don't
when
get-
that barn was built. That was built in 1999. These house and the garage, doesn't show on this map, but it's.
Yeah.
And then the property was purchased by, appears to be purchased by Nappy around 2010, March 17th, 2010.
So John, what's his alternatives that, for two,
But it
A,
seems to
with
me
no
this got
house,
built
build a house?
after he bought it.
Variance, I mean.
You know, you'd have to get a variance on 2A because there's no house there.
Why would he let a septic go on his property?
So you've got all these accessory structures with no primary structure.
Right.
Did you hear that, Mr. Attorney?
I think I did. You want to repeat that last
So,
part
lot
after
2A does not
99?
have a primary structure, it just has accessory structures, which would not meet the code.
He bought this in 2005.
Oh, on 2A.
The office, too, was primary structure, you think? No.
It's a possibility.
But if
Well-
2A is really primarily an agricultural lot, I
But it
mean,
has accessory buildings, but no primary building, which the code would call for.
Is
to
it,
create a subdivision, even though I mean, basically, we want to keep that as a farm, a working farm. So we would have to put a house on it
Or you get a variance?
Or get a
or get a
variance.
variance, okay? Because I think that's primarily going to be a working farm here. So that's kind of what we're trying to differentiate. We're trying to put the residential to the west and then keep the working farm to the east here.
Right, I'll do a comparison for you. If you had 100 acres that was just open land and fencing with no barns on it, you wouldn't need a house and you could operate it and put your cattle out there to graze. But because there's all these barns and accessory structures, our code says accessory structure is supposed to be with a house. So that's the difference.
Yeah, okay.
And the
Okay.
quick fix is making that linger piece part of the property.
The 4275,
That would take care of the septic.
Gates Road there?
Yes,
Okay.
for that issue, the way I see it.
Well, originally, the 4275 Gates Road came with 20 some odd acres. This portion here, this was part of, original farm.
Right.
And
we're
they used to
saying
have,
that-
they used to have horses too, which we just reconverted it.
Yeah,
you know.
or if somehow if you took that, was it 3 acres or whatever,
Yeah.
put
And
it
then
back in, it solves, A, there's a residence, and B, your septic is then on the same
Piece of property.
property. But you guys know your land, so.
Yeah. That's, I don't see.
So, anyway, do you have any comments? Tim, did you have anything else?
No, you guys have pretty much covered everything.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for the suggestions. We'll get back with the surveyor and engineer. And then we'll talk to Tim a little bit too, make sure we're on the right track, okay?
Yeah.
Just get your name again.
Yeah, sure. Jacob,
Last name?
GREEKA. Wait for the next one. Wait for the next one.
Yes, actually, I did.
You do one? Sure. I have a couple more if you want. We'll make the changes.
Hi. Okay. Once I got this. Change gears. Yeah. Okay, so we're shifting gears and giving our secretary time here for a second.
Thank you.
Ready? Yep. Whitefield Farm subdivision, Lisa Weiss and Robert Weiss. Preliminary review of a subdivision of a 5.6 acre piece of land from a 45 acre parcel located at the northeast corner of Gates and Henneberry Roads at the terminus of Deer Crossing Road in the town of Pompey, tax map number 9-2-8.2. Check that number too. So thanks for your patience, Lisa.
Yeah, no problem.
I think we have the same map,
Yeah.
to save you from having to.
No, yeah.
It's different,
That's the same.
to save you from trying to put it on that. So,
Thank you.
yeah, so we're good.
Okay, okay. So I would like to subdivide this property. Starting with that corner, there's a road coming in, Deer Run.
And Deer Run stops right at the property line, the existing property line?
With a hammerhead.
Yeah, if you've been down there, it's like a T where Walker built that property and he wanted to continue in, but wasn't to sell to him at that time. So it just kind of stops there. There is blacktop. You could, so I'm just wondering if it's possible to continue a road through there, or then I would subdivide it. Gary Cottrell has, I just did 5 acre lots for now. But I was gonna just subdivide this one part, coming off of that road, if it's possible. It looks like it would extend, and then it could come out onto Gates, otherwise I have,
In other words, have the road go all the way through the property?
yeah, it could. Yeah, it could, like the ultimate plan would be that, so where there's no road and then,
How do you get access to this? Gates, okay, Gates is enough frontage for Gates,
yeah, each one of these is either on Gates or Henneberry,
Yeah,
except for the corner.
that's the
So
only one.
except that,
Yeah,
and that one would be a flag lot then. Move your pen up, Kevin.
This,
That one. possibly.
Well, yeah, depending on what
close.
that is.
Yep.
That
What are
distance.
you looking at?
What this distance is here,
That
200,
versus
210, and the depth is 738.
that would just,
For,
from 2.5 to
So it
1,
wouldn't be a
if it's
flag lot.
210.
What's,
But these would be,
yeah,
what do you mean flag lot?
a flag lot is the frontage is so small compared to the size of the lot. We call those flag lots.
Okay.
There's a formula, what was the formula? Amelia?
2.5 to 1.
so the depth
basically-
cannot be more than 2.5 times the frontage.
Right, so if the frontage is 200 feet, the depth can't be more than
500.
500.
Okay, so, well, I'm not doing anything with that right now. I can always change that. We're just wanting to,
Okay, here's my comment.
yeah,
Of looking at that, if you're considering possibly developing the whole parcel,
Borrow this for a second.
you need to plan, is the road gonna continue through or not? Because to me,
That's all in the plan.
right now, just bringing this in so you can build one house on lot 1 right here, if that dead ends at that property, you've really limited yourself in options. Versus
Yeah.
if it was possible to, somehow come through the property.
And it's all road frontage.
I'm open to
That's-
ideas.
You need to answer that question first in my mind. If all you wanna do is build a new house right there and that's it, and you'll be content forever and then trying with that, but there are, like we said, some limitations with
Right.
the size of the lots.
So you could do what you're proposing there, but you've gotta do it in different shapes, and maybe you can't have as many because of the depth and width. It just would have to be drawn with that formula in mind.
Okay. I'm surprised Gary didn't. Okay. As far as the town, I mean, people have approached me with different ideas for the property.
People have approached you with different ideas for the property, but if you wanna develop it into multiple, you just have to, and he should be able to, you just tell him you can't have flag lots, and he'll know what a flag lot is.
Yeah.
And, tell him what our formula is.
Okay.
And he could redraw it so it made more sense if that's what you ultimately want to do. Because if you come in to do just what you've given us the map to do, it may
I think it limits a lot of
limits
options.
the future plans. It's nice to have what you brought in, that drawing of, this is what you want to do long-term. Because we like to see that too. What's the long-term gonna be on that property? If you were just gonna build a house here and, graze cattle and the rest of it, that'd be fine. But if you do have long-term plans, it's nice to see that so we can say, these are the things,
Because you're showing, for example, a cul-de-sac serving that one lot, which that really doesn't, it doesn't make sense for one lot.
Okay, so, that was, Gary's initial idea for the sketch, and to ask you if it would be okay to just extend the road.
So you just would put a driveway at the end of the road.
Right.
Right, and then
And get rid of
I
the
wouldn't
driveway.
need a road all the way through, but, this would,
That would change that lot if that became a road as opposed to having a driveway. It's just that, like the previous applicant was talking about having a shared driveway with a caveat in the deed that says, everybody gets to use that road. And sometimes that needs a variance, but
yeah,
but you have, you've got frontage on Henneberry and
Yeah.
frontage on
There's other-
Gates.
But continuing that road through may serve your purpose of being able to access those, what were flag lots on that preliminary.
But John,
Yeah.
to make that a road, that's a whole nother ball of
Yeah,
wax.
making a road though would be a pretty efficient way to fully develop this piece of land as opposed to
Right.
that.
okay.
I mean, it's gonna cost more, but the yield of lots, you'd end up with a similar type subdivision that you have to the north, with 2 acre lots on a new road frontage.
But why would you need that if there's frontage on both Gates and Henneberry?
Because
I
if you're gonna cut up,
don't, I'm just saying for, now I'm
Yeah.
talking about, you know, the most efficient
Right,
use of the
right.
property and the way it could be developed. be
Would
to
you,
have a
you would
two-
put that from Deer Crossing, you'd go right over to Gates?
Yeah, you know, some,
But you put all those houses on one access onto Henneberry and maybe one access onto Gates instead of all those individual driveways.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, so that was my initial idea, and then Gary said, I don't do that.
Huh?
He
No.
wanted to draw this up. I said, okay, well, I'll take this and see what the town
Seven
says.
driveways on Gates Road.
Can you
Yes,
drop, or can you move the map down a little bit so we can see better the homes to the north?
Yeah,
Well,
just
that's the
So
end of Deer
that's-
Run right there.
Yeah.
continuing that sinuous type of road system all the way out to.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
doesn't
that
have
makes
to
sense,
come
yeah.
straight out to Gates, that it
Yeah, in other
can,
words,
you know,
you know,
curve
you know, it could do
around and
this.
yeah, that, I have a plan like that too.
Yeah, yeah,
it kind of continues that character
yeah.
Okay,
through.
That road,
The-
yeah.
Which to me would be much more preferable.
Yeah,
Your neighbors or the people in that development aren't gonna be happy, because now there's a through road, and they're not gonna want the traffic, but.
nobody's
No,
gonna
but
be happy
in-
over there.
I guess I'll lose a few votes.
no, but on the other hand,
No
if
one's
there
ever
was,
happy.
Kevin would vouch for this, that if there was an emergency up in there, that you could access it from
Right,
2
from both.
points instead of
That's an
one.
both
awful
directions,
long
yeah.
dead-end road,
Yeah,
very long.
And it is, yeah.
I don't even see the end of it yet.
I think the intention, when it's, obviously when it was designed,
Yeah.
the planning board at the time had plans for this.
To continue,
Yeah.
Right, Walker wanted to continue building.
which is why the road was left unfinished at the end there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it wasn't a cul-de-sac or a circle, it was just left dead-ended because someone must have plans to go further with it.
food for thought, but that's our,
But bus drivers like through streets, right?
Yes, right.
Snowplow operators.
Speaking of Lockheed Martin, that's quite a turnaround, isn't it?
when they're paying attention, open the gates.
Yes.
Okay, so take it back to the drawing board and draw a road in,
Yeah,
and come
however,
back.
Like I said,
And keep in
the
mind
town,
that flag lot issue.
Okay.
yeah, the cost of a road is not cheap,
Mm-hmm.
but I think he would get returned back on it.
2 lots would probably pay.
Look how
for the
nice I
road.
did it right there, see that?
Pardon me?
Two or three
Yeah,
lots.
yes,
would probably
thank you,
pay
Kevin.
for the road.
Yeah, did you hear what John said?
No.
2 or 3 lots would probably pay for the road.
the additional lots
Two,
you
if
get.
you get 2 or 3 additional lots to sell, it will probably offset the cost of building the road. As opposed to.
Okay,
Cause all you got storm, you don't have any sanitary and water.
there is no water septic that comes up Henneberry, right?
Right.
No,
So, okay.
so
But
that's
it makes the
something,
road building
that's-
much less expensive.
Okay, so when I have it redrawn, can I go down and, from 5 acres?
Yep.
Yeah,
2 acres.
to 2 acres?
oh, this is an ag district, by the way, this parcel, so I don't know. We were trying to figure out if that had any implications to subdivision.
It was what?
It's an ag district.
There,
Maybe back
Oh,
taxes.
you know what, I turned it back to ag, it went from the Costellos to, I can't remember the guy's name right now, he bought it from the Costellos, and he was gonna build on it, and then he moved. And I
So
bought
if
it from him,
if it's in the egg district, basically, then it leaves egg production.
Yeah.
You would owe X number of years back taxes, the
Yeah.
difference between the egg exemption and
yes, right,
And
that's
the other.
okay.
I do realize that, okay, if we scan it back up, that you hate to see farmland go, but yet this lot and the continuation of that road, I think there it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like you have a creek and probably some wetlands associated with it, so those would need to be identified and avoided.
worked around.
Yeah, I think Gary has that on a different map. Yeah, there's a wet area, but not a real creek. Just like
Yeah.
willow.
Yeah, that's just as bad.
Kind of, yeah.
In terms of regulatory,
It could be somebody's backyard.
yeah, you can work around it.
Could be a preserve.
We'll have to keep in mind that.
Could be a wet. Oh,
Oh, yeah. It does mean it need to be wet to be considered a
Sounds like
wetland.
a big community watch.
She doesn't know necessarily.
Excellent.
okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Gives you something to work with.
Yes. All
Back
right,
to the drawing board.
that's okay. All right,
right.
thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Lisa. Is there any other business from board members or Tim or John or Amelia? Hearing none, I make a motion to adjourn in second.
Okay. Excellent.
Everybody, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, everybody.
Right, the mic off, so I can say what I really want to say.